to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial matters, markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events most of all. Thank you for joining me. Within every market there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. Todd Ament is here, Anaheim Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's a number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, I work with you personally. The team will be there to support you, but it's just me. Again, save the number in your phone, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. It is another beautiful day here in Southern California, so what are we celebrating? You look at the celebrations today and you just kind of say most of it is a little ho-hum. United Nations Day? Yeah, we're not into that one at all. As a person having beaten anorexia, National Bologna Day? Yeah, I don't know about that one either.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I guess we'll just have to. Today, October 24th, every year is the celebration of National Food Day. So I guess we'll just have to stick with National Food Day. What are the markets doing? The markets have been on a big seesaw lately. So we are looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I look at that one for you every day. We give you the what and we give you the why both. Dow Jones Industrial Average down about 80 points. Oil, it's finally made a bit of a turnaround, so oil is up 79 cents a barrel. Yeah, we're looking at 67.22 a barrel right now. Do we even want to look at what the oil or gas prices are doing in California? Maybe we better not look at that. It makes me ill most of the time when I look at the oil prices we're paying. Hey, you know something? Although, we do know that we live in one of the... No, wait a second. How can this be? We hear from the governor that we live in this state that is doing unbelievably fiscally well, and then we watch the news broadcast or the commercials on TV, and they tell us they need more money to pay for the roads. So, which is it? If we're doing so well fiscally, why don't we just take some of that money and pay for the roads instead of having to pay all this extra tax money? National average of a gallon of gasoline, $2.84.4. Right here in California, we are paying $3.81.3. Ow! Painful to think about how much we're paying more in California than they are in other parts of the country. Now, Ohio, where they produce so much gas, maybe not, $2.57 they're paying in Ohio. If you want to get the cheapest gas in the land, it would be $2.56.2. 255.2. I am doing a big search to figure out where the heck it is. Oh, another one of the oil producing states you get gas cheapest in the land. $2.55.2 in Delaware. Now, I don't know how much gas is produced in Delaware, but I would think they probably have to truck more gas into Delaware than they do into California, yet we're paying $1.30 a gallon more. What are your thoughts about Measure 6 now? I know we need that money, and our friends on the left say how great our country is doing, we're doing fiscally in our state, but that's just, again, my personal opinion, and being that I host the show, I give it on a regular basis. U.S. 10-year Treasury down at $3.13, is the yield there, down about 4 basis points. If you are living on fixed income, that is where you're getting money. And if you want, you could put your money into Germany. Well, they're getting 0.4 on their bond, so you don't even get a full percentage point back on theirs every year. Now, Italy, which has been the cause of a lot of turmoil lately, nobody wants to talk about Italy because we're busy talking about some of these other issues. But Italy, yeah, with their 130% debt to GDP ratio, 3.616 is their 10-year. Probably not the most fiscally smart place to put your money, especially when the European Union has just said, we're not going to accept your budget. Just a thought there for you. Now, talking about not accept, I do chat on a regular basis. I have been known from time to time to speak my mind and speak about political issues, but it's getting a little bit overboard right now when we watch the news, or I don't know if you're following the news. I am a news junkie, but did you check out the news this morning? Now, I've told you many, many times that I think that one of the most despicable people in our country, George Soros, probably, the cause of a lot of our chaos and problems. Him and David Brock, probably two of the worst. But my idea, you don't go sending bombs to the guy. That's pretty stupid. And now we see that probably the same bomb maker has now sent bomb packages or suspicious packages to former Presidents Obama and Clinton. Really? Is this what we're getting to in our society? And there's nobody watching but the Clinton News Network, maybe the Cannabis News Network. They had to evacuate the building at CNN today because of a suspicious package. Now, supposedly, CNN, if they ever reported anything accurately, and I'm not sure they do, but CNN has said that there was one of the same suspicious packages sent to the White House. I can see how we can get contentious and we can be opinionated, but that's not the way we do things in this country. On November, I think it's 8th, some of us already, the way we want to revolt in our country is through a ballot, through an election, through a fair dialogue, an honest and respectful dialogue. Get educated first, but don't, through bombs and things along those lines, and there's no excuse for that. And I certainly love the remarks that came from the White House today saying that that's not acceptable and they will be going after these people to the fullest extent of the law. Now, we just found out, obviously, one of them can't be very smart if you're sending bombs in the first place. But the bomb that was sent to George Soros, they couldn't even get it to detonate. Think about that. They had to put some other explosive in it to get the thing to detonate. Now, again, I'm just saying that it's stupid. Anybody doing this kind of thing, it's going way too far, and I hope that everybody is on the lookout for idiots like this and gets rid of them. Right? I mean, notify the police, notify the FBI, some sort of law enforcement, and get them off the street, because you know something, when they're that stupid that they can't even get the bomb made to detonate properly, guess what? It could detonate in their garage, which might be your next door neighbor. So be very, very careful with these issues, and do what you can to keep everybody safe. This is an election season. I know that everybody's got their opinions, but those kind of opinions, that's not the way we do things in our country. Just my personal opinion. I hope that most people will join in that process. What else is in the news? Well, you gotta love it all the time, because I'm looking at a report here. Hollywood Democrats pouring money into the midterm elections, infusing races with cash in a last-ditch push to flip control of the Congress. Some of the most famous ones: Meryl Streep. Oh, jeez.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Steven Spielberg, Alec Baldwin. Now, you know something? He did finally say something I agree with. It's been a long time. I've listened to him every once in a while. But he did make a comment that we can revolt at the ballot box. That's the way to do it. Right? That makes sense. Probably the first thing I've heard him say that's logical, other than a script that somebody else wrote for him. And, I don't even listen to those. But interesting here how that goes. Khashoggi's death, apparently another big issue right now in the news. Fascinating how we are spending, and there's no excuse for that one either, but fascinating how that's covering the news, but our ambassador that was killed in Benghazi didn't get this much coverage. I wonder where the equality is there. Just a thought process for you, and if you are working, now we're going to talk with Todd Ament today about Measure L here in Anaheim. Well, Measure L, I wonder how that'll be affected if some of these extra 7,000 people get into the country. You think that'll have any effect of supply and demand of labor? Yeah, who's pushing for that? It's the supposed individuals like the lunatic Nancy Pelosi.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it. So
she's all for this open border stuff, and she claims to be for the working people. But bring in more supply of low income and low price labor. How does that help working people? Maybe in San Francisco, they've got a different model of economics. Supply and demand might not work in San Francisco. I'm just curious about it. We'll talk about that and a lot more when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Measure L, what's happening in Anaheim, the Angels, Disney, all that and more. We're going to also talk a little bit. Housing, is it still affordable in the U.S.? We might get into that one also, although we talked about it yesterday. Do you need 15 or 20% down to buy a house? And there is a big change coming to your MasterCard in 2019. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay will be available. Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates. And many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star is the only one I know of that has the Fast Pass loan approval. That's going to save you potentially $10,000 to $50,000 on the purchase of your new home just simply by getting that Fast Pass loan approval. So what is happening in the mortgage market today? Well, I told you earlier, the 10-year Treasury. A lot of people want to tell you, a lot of mortgage people will tell you that the 10-year Treasury drives interest rates for mortgages, and that's not really true, but it is a leading indicator. It's probably the easiest way to find that information. The 10-year Treasury down 4 basis points right now at 3.126. Mortgage rates are actually driven by the Fannie Mae bond, the Fannie Mae 30-year bond. That is up 20 basis points right now. The bond is up, which means interest rates are down today, but they change as often as the stock market changes. So the question becomes, do you want the best interest rate when you apply for a loan or when you close your loan? That's the difference. That's what you're going to get when you deal with a tremendous mortgage professional. That is our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. So what is happening? Why are these things happening? Well, the stock market's been very volatile. We've seen what's going on over in Italy. We're watching that the liberals are going crazy over the journalists being killed by Saudi Arabia. A lot of turmoil. Whenever you have this turmoil, the markets start to go, they get a little nervous. The markets were priced for perfection. Nothing happens perfectly. I told you yesterday about Caterpillar stock. That is a leading indicator that the economy is slowing down a little bit. Real estate got some tough news this morning on the economy again. So all of these are issues that are coming out. That is why you see these things. It's very easy to find out what is happening. The why is the item that you need to come to Ron Siegel Radio for to listen to. And that is the Mortgage Minute today, brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. So I chat a lot about what is happening in Anaheim. Why do I chat so much about Anaheim when we're dealing with a broadcast that's heard from San Diego to Santa Barbara? It's heard from the ocean, Coachella Valley, and on the internet all over the world. Well, Anaheim is a leading indicator, at least in my opinion, and that's the opinion that counts with this host, is Anaheim is a leading indicator of what's going on in the Southern California markets. So Todd Ament, Anaheim Chamber of Commerce, is with us, and we'll be able to chat a little bit. Welcome.
Good morning, Ron.
Glad to have you with us. So there's just a little bit of activity in Anaheim right now. Elections are, a couple weeks away, right? And we're seeing that Disney, the Angels, the city seems to be on fire and we've got some great leadership in City Hall. Of course, I'm not a big fan of our current mayor, so I thought I could just say my opinion. I won't ask you to throw yours in there. But we've seen that Disney canceled a major project. A lot of people are going to get some work out of that, or we're going to get work. And one of the things that comes to me on a regular basis, Todd, is I hear people say, Disney's got a lot of money, and why do they need us to build a hotel? So you're in the know.
Yeah, you bet. Well, Ron, as you know, I've been working on Anaheim economics for the last 30 years, and we've been very proud of the success that we've had with public-private partnerships. One of the largest taxes that comes into the city of Anaheim is bed tax. Back in 1994, there were good plans put together.
You have to go backwards a little bit because I'm a simple guy, Todd.
Yep.
A bed tax. I've got 3 beds in my house. Is that what you're talking? I mean, and I got that little label that says I can't tear it off.
You bet.
Is that the type of tax you're talking about?
So every night that somebody stays in a hotel in Anaheim, and you take their room rate, there's a 15% bed tax that's charged, and 100% of that comes to the city of Anaheim. A portion of that, 20%, goes to a bond payment that was financing we did, kind of like a mortgage, when we redeveloped the resort and actually took it from a theme park to a resort. The output of that for residents is we went from $30 million a year in bed taxes that come to our general fund to this last year we hit over $160 million to our general fund. What does that mean to a resident? The residents then get services paid for by out-of-town guests who pay that bed tax. So the equation is that $160 million, if the out-of-town guests weren't paying for the services for the residents of Anaheim, then the residents of Anaheim would have to pay more taxes. And that works out to about $1,500 more per year per household throughout the year. So wait, back up a little bit. Now, I'm a simple guy, Todd, so I like to go here. $1,500 a year more per house if we didn't have this money. Yes.
So that means get a little nicer car. We might be able to take the family on vacation. We might even be able to go to Disneyland, right? Because of $1,500 a year that we don't have to spend to get the same electric and fire and water and police, right?
Exactly.
That's where that money's going to?
So in other cities that are struggling with their budgets, they put in utility taxes, they put in franchise taxes on your cable bill, your telephone bill. Anaheim has zero. So Anaheim residents don't have to pay those extra taxes now because the resort growth and these public-private partnerships has generated now $160 million. And if you add in the property tax and the sales tax off all those new projects, that number's $194 million last year in taxes that was delivered to the city of Anaheim for its residents by out-of-town guests.
I like that idea because I like the idea if I can go out for dinner and send somebody in Missouri the tab, right?
Exactly.
Then I get that's good for me.
So, but all good things have tensions, right? So there's one large union in its leadership at Unite Here that operates several Disney hotels, operates at the Hilton and operates at the Sheraton. So they operate a very small percentage of the overall rooms in Anaheim, and they want more. They want to have more union members. So as these projects have been coming online, we go back to the Garden Walk. There's 2 4-diamond hotels. Anaheim has always been kind of a low room rate for the type of market that we are. Over the last several years, that's been climbing, and the types of groups that have been coming to Anaheim have grown. We went from kind of your teachers, your religious groups that were coming here for conventions, to getting into the medical and technical with our great convention center, and that helps Disney helps it, and it all works together. Well, what happened was all of a sudden we had demand, and we have several groups that want to come to Anaheim that want 4-diamond products. So
You're talking about 4-diamond products. You're talking about the quality level of the hotel.
Yes,
okay.
And so some of these groups won't book unless you have those rooms in your marketplace. So finally, the market says we want to come, but it doesn't. For an investor, the rate of return they need to get on a risk of a 4-diamond hotel, we put together policies, as have many other cities across Southern California and across the nation, to incentivize that investment. That's been done, and it stimulated 5 4-diamond hotels. One Disney, which is a 700-room, just amazing project that would have generated over $133 million to Anaheim over the next 20 years, and 5,000 jobs to build it. Well, the union wanted to organize the rest of the 4-diamond hotels. Well, they went to those developers and said, listen, we'd like to manage your workers under our union. And they sat down, and the developers were willing to look at, what they offer, and didn't find a value proposition and said, we don't want to do that. And they said, well, listen, if you don't do a labor peace agreement with us, which basically means once your hotel's developed, that you won't fight us organizing your hotel, and it takes also away the normal process of a ballot box for the votes. They're able to collect cards from the union worker or from the workers of the hotel in the alleys, at their homes, and put pressure on them. So when the developer says, we don't want to do that, they say, well, we're going to sue you under CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act, to delay your project until you sign the peace agreement with us.
So they wanted to have one of the back alley smoke screen room deals where the worker is basically told, you have to do this,
yes,
or else.
And so when we asked them, how's that fair to the worker that you take away their rights to have a closed ballot to vote to decide if they want to be part of the union? They say, well, a worker doesn't quite understand they need us, and if we don't do that, we're not going to be able to organize a hotel. So this starts the sequence that started back in 2012 when the Garden Walk hotels were open, or their development agreements were approved by the city, and they would have been built within 2 years. And that was 866 rooms of 4 Diamond. The union said, if you don't let us organize your hotel, we're going to sue you under CEQA law, and there are no penalties for them. There's no risk, because in California they can sue them with no basis under CEQA, tie the project up for 4 or 5 years to get each appeal, every time saying, if you want this to go away, sign this peace agreement. So
sounds like extortion to a simple guy.
It pretty much is, Ron. And so these hotels said, we won't do that. And they couldn't make it pencil to operate with Unite Here. Unite Here's value proposition, if they have a value proposition, let the hotel get built and go organize the workers. That's
the workers would want it if it's going to benefit them.
And or the employer would if they have benefits. So they haven't been able to prove their value proposition, nor did they let the hotels get built and then try to organize them. So what happens is they sue under CEQA. And what does that mean to an Anaheim resident? The delay of the Garden Walk hotels, that 866 rooms would have been built during the downturn, much cheaper time to build, and there was a lot of tradespeople looking for work at the time, many of them losing their houses.
Sure.
So Unite Here sues, doesn't care about those guys that were going to build the hotels. They sue, they lose the lawsuits, and the project gets delayed. That's delayed over $20 million to date, because those hotels weren't built, to the Anaheim General Fund that would have paid for a lot of services, improved a lot of parks, improved a lot of potholes. That's just to date. So now, finally, the JW Marriott's through all those lawsuits and being built at Garden Walk, and the JW Marriott alone, 1,500 construction jobs that are going on there today, 650 permanent jobs once it's built. Again, more jobs you have in the market, wages go up.
Sure, supply and demand.
Yep, and so into the city, over the next several years, they'll get $144 million off that project in the first 20 years. So that one's coming online. So the union was upset that they didn't, sign this peace agreement. So they put Measure L on the ballot. They went out and
we're going to have to talk about Measure L when we come back. Holy cow, the union doesn't seem to be helping anybody.
No, sir.
Other than, wait a second, I think I know who the union helps. Probably some trial attorneys are making a lot of money off of the unions. Is that what you're really looking for Measure L? Well, we'll talk more about Measure L when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Why won't Disney just build the hotel? They don't need our money. Maybe they've got options. So we'll talk about that as well. And a big change coming to MasterCard. I might throw that off the schedule, guys. So think about that one as well. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel lending team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. And as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. I'm going to save for probably tomorrow or next week the rollout of the My Nest app that I've been telling you about. I thought we were going to have that for you today, but I think we've got too much good information to share with you, so you have to be listening either tomorrow or next week. We'll talk about My Nest, which is a new app that you can take pictures right within the app of a property that you're looking at and have home financing options right there for you as well. We'll also save the down payment discussion. I'll give you the bottom line of it is you don't need 15 to 20% down payment. Get in the home buying game when you can. And I'm going to share with you right now, new home sales came out this morning. New home sales plunged to a near 2-year low as housing picture deteriorates. Now, new home sales, that's a fascinating number because you're not going to hear the definition of this on the mainstream media later today. They're just going to say home sales drop. Well, this is new home sales. That's construction, right? If you were listening to the last segment, we were talking all about construction, and there is risk whenever you're doing any kind of construction. There's risk. What if the market changes while that construction's going on? Now, if it takes 4, 5, 6, 7 months to build a house, how long do you think it's going to take to build a hotel? Right? It takes a long time to do these things, to get these projects going, and the longer the time frame, the greater the risk is. So think about that concept as you go through, and we continue our conversation with Todd Ament from the Anaheim Chamber of Commerce, talking about the idea of this Measure L and how it's hurt I'm going to say it, it's actually hurt union workers. Just the discussion of all of this has been, think about how many people have gotten hurt by the local union, the contractors, right? Most contractors, in my understanding, are union workers. I had a neighbor that was a contractor that built high-rises or big projects, mostly union jobs. So they've hurt them by going through this process. The hotels, Garden Walk, how many businesses have gone out of business? Todd probably knows this better than me. But how many businesses have gone out of business in the Garden Walk while the unions have been killing these small business jobs. How many construction jobs have been hurt? How many construction workers have left Southern California or lost their homes during the downturn when this could have been done? These are risk things. And how do the companies come around risk or mitigate risk? Right? They develop these public-private partnerships that, our Anaheim mayor is so adamant against killing. Think about that concept. But let's get back to the conversation. We're just getting into the discussion. I just give my opinions every once in a while about the delays here, Todd. Measure L. So I've been against Measure L because I've owned my own businesses my whole life. Right? And I had a conversation actually with a real estate broker. And I said, if Measure L goes into effect, we don't know exactly who all is going to be covered because of how vague it's written. And it could be that the person that's going out and putting up signs for you, you might have to start paying them $18 an hour.
Absolutely. As they progress with Measure L, and when Measure L hit, there was two things. Where this ballot, there are plenty of candidates running for office, and in a gubernatorial race, non-presidential, turnout is always an issue. And so the other side actually posted on Facebook pages that one of the reasons they put Measure L on the ballot is to create turnout for their candidates. And so there's a mayoral candidate.
They don't care about the union worker, they just care about the candidate.
Correct. And then they feel they'll have more favorable policies to the union that the city council will demand that any project being built would follow and have to be a union. We don't oppose...
Does the city council have that kind of authority?
They do.
Over a small business, they can just tell me that I have to go union in my business.
They can make it that anybody that's getting certain types of approvals from the city have to have a peace agreement. In fact, the same union supported these policies in Santa Ana because the Santa Ana policy that provides for a rebate to incentivize hotel development requires a peace agreement because the city council is a little more left-leaning there and stronger relationships with the unions, and the unions help write the policy, and so they're hoping to create union jobs by attracting investment. In Anaheim, they call these rebates a giveaway, but there, same exact policy, but because it has a peace agreement, they call them economic incentives. So it's all about them creating the union job by incentivizing. So the
mayor of Anaheim is probably a union guy. I won't ask you to go there.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to try today to stick to the facts, and you know how I feel about the mayor, but we've tried to grow jobs, good jobs, and tried to really capitalize both in the canyon of Anaheim on really good jobs, manufacturing, everything else, but the resort is where we basically print cash for our residents. The more we grow the room rate within the resort and attract investment, it's great for the residents. As we mentioned, right now it's $194 million that comes to the city from the resort. So the union was also trying to negotiate their contracts with Disney at the same time this was all happening. So they said anybody that receives any incentive from the city to invest here ought to pay $18 minimum wage. And there's several factors of damage that creates. One, entry-level workers will never get those jobs because people from all over the place will come apply for those jobs.
So that translates into our kids, right?
Yes,
that's when we talk about
our high school
workers.
Kids, entry-level workers, people with language barriers, they'll just be boxed out. So they go after Disney. They write the language in this to say any business adjacent to your tenants, any other businesses you own. So for Disney, this would have affected all 30,000 cast members. So they went after them. They were the only union at Disney that didn't come to a contract with them to get everybody over $15 minimum entry. They also introduced Disney introduced a whole Aspire program that's free education for all their workers. They've just got so many good things. All the other unions went to the table, the bargaining table. They didn't take this to the ballot box, and they solved it. Unite Here did not, and they put this on the ballot. End of the day, Disney cancels their Four Diamond Hotel for many reasons. Hostility at City Hall with them of they needed to move the hotel about 1,000 feet based on some site plan development. This hotel's been on the plans for 20 years, and it's their property, and there's no damage to the city to move the project 20 feet, but the mayor said, I gotcha, and said, now you can't build your hotel. Any other city would have said, hey, how do we help them in that drawing? And we need that hotel to come online. We need because
they want the jobs.
The 5,000 jobs to build it, the 1,100 jobs after that, and over the next 40 years, the close to $1 billion in taxes to the city. So here, the mayor joins the union, the union's fighting them. So Disney says, listen, based on You won't move the site. The impacts of Majorel to our company, the investment returns, we're canceling the hotel. So Disney is exempt. This doesn't even affect Disney anymore. City attorney weighed in at the last council meeting that based on Disney canceling the hotel and the rebate agreement that they had, and they canceled their gate tax, basically moratorium that they had with the city, with all of those canceled, this does not affect Disney at all. So this affects 2 hotels that are being built, because the other 2 Four Diamond hotels say if this passes, they're canceling because their projects don't pencil out with what this does, because it's not only, it's the wage, most of these hotels pay within the wage band, but the language says adjacent to, next to, tenants of. So if you're the pizza place at one of these hotels, now you just got hit by this. So you're hiring the kids out of high school that come over there and deliver pizza? You can't afford to do it anymore. So it's going to put the small businesses, and they say there's exemptions. First they say it doesn't affect small business. Then they say, well, read the fine print. There's exemptions, and the city manager has to determine if it's detrimental to them, if it affects them. Well, now our city manager's stuck in the middle of this, and there's going to be lawsuits from the employee groups of all these adjacent to, next to, and guess what? The city's going to have to hire attorneys because they wrote this in such vague language, but they put a lot of stuff in there that it's going to cause millions upon millions of dollars to the city fund to try to defend and help interpret these lawsuits.
So let me ask you this, Todd, because I'm a big, again, I've shared many times, I'm a small business owner, have been my whole life. And when I'd have somebody tell me that I have to do something, usually I say, well, I can't say on air what I usually say, but we just don't, they don't do that. They're not in that mindset because they're a small business owner. They're usually, it's the other way around. Yep. They say what they're going to do. You were mentioning the Four Diamond hotels as some of the conventions. It would seem to me, just as again one of the simple guys, if I get a doctor's convention coming to the Anaheim Convention Center, they probably don't want to stay. Doctors are probably not going to stay at Motel 6.
Correct,
right?
and we did studies asking those groups that want to come to Anaheim, what do you need in Anaheim to come? They said we need the Four Diamond rooms, we need more restaurants, we need more amenities. So we put all these plans together, we expanded the convention center, and that expansion is based on these Four Diamond hotel rooms, making it pencil out. So this was all a plan, and the mayor and several council members, when they ran for office, they agreed with these policies. But after they got elected, they changed their mind. And we cannot fathom what economic theory they're using to say that these things are bad. The end of the day, again, it doesn't affect Disney. It's killing the trades that were going to build these projects. They had what's called project labor agreements. They sat down with the developers, reasonable terms, and came to project labor agreements, which include local hire, veteran hire, apprenticeships and trainings for high school kids to go work on these projects and build right in their backyard. These are being killed. Like I said, the Disneyland Hotel, which is dead. They've canceled that. They've moved the money now. They haven't announced that they moved the money to Florida, but ironically, they just announced they're building basically a $700 million hotel in Florida.
How much was the hotel going to be here?
About that. So
surprise, surprise. Again, it goes back to the same thing. Could Disney do it? Yes.
Yes.
But the question is, do they want to in a hostel? Somebody keeps poking you in the eye. Do you want to go out to dinner with them?
No,
right?
One of my friends asked me, well, Disney makes all this money annually, billions of dollars, and why don't they just build the hotel on their own? They can afford to. And I said, when Disney makes those billions of dollars, it's our job to try to attract that investment here to create jobs. And so they're looking for a rate of return on that investment around the globe on their investment on behalf of their shareholders. And so our job is to try to incentivize them that this is the market to do it in and make the deal work that they will invest here. Again, TOT, the bed tax that we talked about, was $30 million in 1994, and because of these types of deals and incentives, bed tax and property tax, sales tax today is $194 million coming in from the resort.
So now you made a comment before, and we got to go to break here in a second. I want to ask you this, about the bed tax. You were saying about that all of these different issues the mayor and current council was on board with, but now they're not. I want to find out the bed tax that went from, you said, what, 30 million to 190 something?
Yes.
Was the mayor against that at 30 million? I want to talk to you about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we've still got the Your Credit Matters segment, but it might be a little bit abbreviated today because I want to get some more answers here. And I still want to talk to Todd about the Angels. I've been an Angel fan since, Well, since I was born, and that's a long time ago, so we want to chat about that as well. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com. Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Well, welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today is being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it is wrong. Credit Sanitizer helps you. I know it's wrong. I've been looking at credit reports. You know that I laid a lending team, so I've been looking at credit reports for many decades, more than I want to admit to. And I have never, ever seen a credit report that is completely accurate. I'm not saying the perfect score of 850. I'm saying just accurate. Think about that part of it. They are all wrong. So that's why I know yours is as well. Let's get them corrected. And I'm not going to give you the whole report today. We'll talk about this one again tomorrow because I want to spend more time with Todd Ament, Anaheim Chamber of Commerce. So again, I'm just going to preempt that, guys. So just let our sponsors know that I'm at fault. What the heck? So let's talk, Todd. We were talking about before the break, talking to Todd Ament, Anaheim Chamber of Commerce. And it's something that just baffles me. And if I didn't have a minimal amount of hair already, I probably would have pulled my hair out. Is that my understanding was the mayor of Anaheim was on the city council some time ago when they were talking about these public-private partnerships and the incentives with the hotels.
Absolutely. In fact, when Anaheim borrowed $510 million worth of bonds that relied on all these hotels and all this revenue to pay off those bonds, which run through 2037, and we're actually over collecting on the formulas that pay those bonds, and we're going to pay those off early, which will free up a lot more money to the residents. The mayor was part of that. He understood this. He voted for it. But now he's actually inhibiting the growth that's going to pay off those bonds early.
But it's under his tenure now. I mean, then he was a member of, a 6 or 7 person city council.
At that time, it was 5.
5, okay. And now he's the mayor, so most people think that, he's the head dog.
The mayor keeps trying to spin the economics on all these things. He's been opposed to these things. He's voted for them in the past. He's voted for hotel rebates to attract investment. And one of the things that he talks about is the market. And I loved it. Your teaser earlier was politics, markets, and sports. We're hitting them all, right? But when you talk about markets, Anaheim is not its own little vacuum. We compete. And
Sure.
Garden Grove got smart some years ago and said, boy, that bed tax is a cool thing. Why don't we take North Harbor Boulevard and Garden Grove and start building hotels?
Like where the Hyatt is.
Yes, and we don't have the bond cost, and let's do that. Well, they incentivized hotels, so the market you compete in is what you compete in. It's
Sure.
not a purist market that you never provide incentives.
Nobody that's
It's
in the
what you
convention
compete
center
in.
cares if you go across the line there and go 100 feet to Garden Grove.
In fact, during the period about 2000 to 2015, they had policies and they attracted about 2,300 rooms down there, and they've siphoned off about $25 million a year in bed tax that would be coming to Anaheim residents. If we would have done those same incentives, we had plenty of land, they would have never built in Garden Grove. But because they provided the incentive and we didn't, they went there.
$25 million a year.
A year. And they right now are entitling another about 2,500 rooms, which would siphon off about that again, and they're doing even bigger incentives than we are because they're not at Main and Main, but they're attracting the investment, they're getting the jobs, and they're getting the bed taxes. So we compete in a market. LA
They're
does
buying
this.
steak dinners for these hotels, and we're poking them in the eye.
Yes, and so the investment.
Pretty simple guys, right? I mean,
Disney announced they're looking at property in Garden Grove. So I mean, when people say we don't have a hostile business environment, we do right now. And this is chasing away investment. We have investors that were buying up property in the resort that are could be affected by Measure L. They're taking that money and looking at to move those projects to San Diego, to Florida. So we're losing that investment dollar. We wrote warnings about all this. Watching it happen, it truly breaks my heart, because there are neighborhoods in Anaheim that need reinvestment. And as all these hotels are coming online, the city's general fund is finally having extra dollars, would have, to actually go into some of the really challenged socioeconomic areas of our city, improve the housing, reinvest in the parks.
And some of our listeners probably don't know this, and I'll toot your horn because you aren't, is that you were pretty vocal and instrumental in a lot of the redevelopment of Anaheim and the Canyon area.
Absolutely.
Right? And why can't we do the same thing if you can get rid of some of the hostility in City Hall in the other parts of Anaheim?
Yes, and I believe, we've basically got 13 days to an election. This election is going to make some very big decisions for this city. Measure L, my final message to the listeners today is it doesn't affect Disney. Don't listen to the rhetoric. It's going to kill jobs, both for the trades and ongoing. As you add these jobs, it's going to force wages up, which is the best way to do it, and it's going to force it beyond what Measure L will do. And Measure L, after all, it only affects about 150 people, but it kills 3,000 jobs directly. So it's a bad thing. It's bad for police and fire, because we need more police. Response times are crazy in Anaheim. They're high. Fire, we've been down about 10 guys on fire. The Canyon fire out here in the hills, we didn't have enough resources. These hotels coming online give us the dollars to add more police, to add more fire. So it's going to hurt the coverage from fire and police to not have these come online, while other costs of the cities continue. So we could have improved neighborhoods, we could have added more police and fire, and yet we're going to chase that investment away. If Measure L passes, it's already killed the Disneyland.
What else will it kill?
Angels.
We haven't even talked about the Angels. I saw reported yesterday in the Register, John Lancer, their real estate reporter, said that good riddance to the Angels. We should push them out.
And if you look at it purely from a land use basis, John says that, and John and I differ on a lot of things. Last week he wrote about what city would chase away $100 million with no risk on the hotel thing. This week that article I think was a little slanted, but the reality is you got 156 acres there. The Angels have been a great partner in Anaheim since the mid '60s, and in 1994 when Disney owned the team, the time was to redo the lease, and the stadium was an aged stadium and needed a lot of investment. So the choice was, does it get rebuilt? Does it get torn down? So Disney and the city negotiated a deal where Disney put $90 million into the stadium and agreed to stay through 2029. But they knew at around 25 years in that agreement that the stadium was going to need another reinvestment and that they would have to work together on how they would address the capital needs, such as aging concrete decks, plumbing in the walls, those type things. Stadium looks good. It's got a lot of infrastructure issues. So that got kicked down the road. 4 years before that opt-out period came, early 2010-11, we started meeting with the Angels just as a business community and saying, hey, this date's coming up. You're an important asset here. What are your goals? And so the team said, we've really got to study this and to see how long can the stadium last. What do we need? Do we need a new stadium? How do we do this? So they went and did a study and came back. And we all expected them to come back and say, we need a new stadium, and hey, city ought to pay for it. They came back, and this just got so distorted in the media by the mayor. They came back and said, listen, we can live with a remodel, again, and that we need to invest a little over $150 million, and we could stay another 25 to 30 years. And we've got to work out, some of the parking and seat revenues that we share with the city, but very minimal changes. And the parking was already encumbered on the parking lot, and the city gets a part of the parking revenues. And so they said, well, Artie says, I don't need anything from you. I will put up my $155 million, improve the stadium, and extend my lease. And when the staff wrote up the terms of that agreement, they put on the lease of the land $1 for the parking lot. It was a placeholder, but it's the revenues off of the stadium, the team, the taxes, which are equivalent to about $6 million a year. And then if you add in the national exposure,
a lot of $1.
Yeah, it's a lot of $1. So it got spun. And Artie didn't come with a handout. It was staff who said, hey, what if you develop some of the land in the parking lot that we could get some incremental tax revenues off of, and a portion of that could go into the new stadium fund, and a portion could come to the city? Would you consider that? And he says, I consider it, but my fans like the surface parking, and I would like the option to do that in the future, but I don't want to commit to that because my fans, this is one of the only stadiums you can drive in and drive out of. But he was open to it. So he said, let's finish the deal. I'll put my money into the stadium, and then we'll have the right to develop the land, and let's figure that out together, city. But I don't want the requirement that so much has to be developed every cycle of development. And so the city and him went back and forth on that, and then the mayor spun this $1 a year lease that was never in play. Already didn't ask for a dime from the city. Then the city proposed, hey, what if we develop part of the parking lot and part of that incremental revenue goes into a stadium fund? They said, let's explore that. So they started negotiations. But one of the problems was we went through 5 city managers and negotiating teams that could never close the deal. So the mayor fired the city manager that had started the negotiations with the team. The next guy came in and stayed a very short time and left because of the environment in Anaheim. The next person came in and left. So we went through 5 city managers, so the team had nobody to negotiate with. And then they extended the option period by 3 years to try to figure this deal out together. And the city knew this date was coming. Nobody from City Hall was out trying to get a deal done to say, hey, we hope you don't take this option out period. Let's figure something out. The mayor says he talked to the team about 6 months ago. If I had a major league sports team and I knew they had an opt-out date coming, I'd be doing everything I could to have meetings with them, proposing solutions. Nothing was done. And so the mayor and others have called this a political play by the Angels to do this now. That was the date they had to notice last week. If they didn't notice on that date, they were stuck here through 2029 without any resolution on how the next chapter of reinvestment and no deal. If you follow what they've said to their season ticket holders, they sent out a letter to their season ticket holders.
We got about 20 seconds.
And they basically said, once a new mayor and city council are in place, we will be glad to get back to the negotiating table to try to see if we can find a win-win deal to stay in Anaheim and explore all of our options.
So I'm going to throw one quick question at you, Todd, and I don't know if you guys have made any political statements here. If I'm an Angel fan, who do I need to vote for mayor and for some of the city council races?
You bet. Our ask of the voters is economically, Measure L is horrible. Vote no on L.
No on L.
Vote yes on J and K, which is to keep the hotels being built in Anaheim. Very important. And then we have worked with several of the people that are running for council, and some of those that have been against these deals. So we support Harry Sadu for mayor, Trevor O'Neill for District 6, Jordan Bramman for District 2, and Mitch Caldwell for District 3. All of those have committed to create a fair deal, not a dollar thing that the mayor claims it to be, but a fair deal to have Artie invest here, keep the team here, and benefit, but also try to find the win-win that gets us the most revenues to that general fund by having a baseball team here. They are very good for Anaheim.
There you have it. It took us about an hour to get to the answers of the questions on the ballot. If you're wanting to keep the Angels and continue our fun with Disney as well. And being that we've gone over, I'm just going to tell you, make sure you set that first radio preset button to come back here to every day. And remember my motto, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.